Before you buy a home computer.
Electronic games being heralded by folks in the trade as this year's holiday bestseller.
Children have skipped school or stolen money to play the games.
I'll be looking at the electronic game craze.
And at the end of the tape, I'll be back to tell you how to safeguard your computer.
All right. I think I let it go to black frame for a second there. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Streamer News. I don't see an audio bar for my microphone, but we're working. All right, cool. We're good. Welcome back to Streamer News. We have missed a couple weeks, but we have an exciting, well, hopefully an exciting show for you guys today. I'm just happy to get back in the swing of things. And most specifically, the excitingness has to do with an unboxing section that we're going to have in this video. We always have unboxing sections here in Streamer News, and I've got a bunch of big stuff that is actually still downstairs that I'll have to bring up during the commercial break to show you, because I am stoked for some of that stuff, and some of it, I'm not even 100% sure what it is. Now, I am a little... Hey, I do have the wrong date on the stream. It's been a while, guys. It has been a crazy couple of weeks. As you know, I have missed the past couple Streamer News as we have had some craziness going on behind the scenes. All good, of course, all good. But there we go. I changed the title. So, anyway, like I said, we're going to get back into it today. We've got quite a bit of topics to cover. And like I said, some general unboxing stuff. And I'm testing out some new formats for the graphics and stuff. And this may be one of the last Streamer News we do from this set, which may be disappointing for some, but it'll be exciting, I promise. So, moving on into things. First and foremost, our first story of the day here. The Sony Imaging Edge webcam app that I tested in a previous Streamer News, where you could use your Sony cameras like I have here as a USB webcam. I didn't have the best experience with it, but it is available for Mac now. It was only available for Windows when I tested it. Excuse me. So those of you looking to do video conferencing or streaming from your Mac computer, you now have a better option available to you here. And so that's pretty cool that they have finally updated it and released it for that, as, you know, we expected. What's very exciting is this next story. So Windows 10 has released their official AV1 decode extension for Windows 10. You know, you have like the HEVC one you have to download, and used to it cost $1, but then Barnacules found that you can get the OEM version for free. Well, there is a similar extension that you have to download from the Windows 10 store to get AV1 decode support. And I talked about AV1 extensively on the channel at this point, including a previous Streamer News and my NVIDIA RTX 3000 series review. However, this specific post about that extension reveals that the AMD Radeon RX 6000 series graphics cards will have AV1 decode as well, which is what we were all hoping. You know, we want as much adoption of being able to play it back as quickly as possible. That way we can get streams actually coming in AV1 and improve quality. I talked about why this matters in my NVIDIA review. So this is very exciting. And of course it mentions as I mentioned in my video, the Intel Core 11th gen processors will have decode as well. This is only decode. This is not encode. So don't confuse that. I had a bunch of people leaving comments. Well, AMD's going to have encoding for AV1 now. Blah, blah, blah. No, it's still decode. But this is still having literally an entire generation of processors and graphics cards across the board. Having decode support for this means that everyone's on board, that everyone is on the same page, and that we will have a much smoother and quicker rollout of AV1 in the first place, which is pretty exciting, if you ask me. Like, I am very stoked for that. And this will mean that we can get to a point where we have AV1 streams. Once we get AV1 streams, then eventually we'll get the ability to stream AV1. But the idea here is that we can stream very high bitrate, H.264 or H.265, probably not, to a streaming service like Twitch, and then they compress it down with AV1 so that everyone else can view AV1 at a higher quality. So currently at the 6 megabit per second bitrate cap for Twitch, you could get a much higher quality stream by streaming, say, 20 megabits per second, and Twitch compressing that down to AV1 at Twitch at 6 megabits per second. So there is a lot going on here. So I am very stoked and looking forward to the future. I'd say the next couple years are going to get pretty interesting for the AV1 scene, if you ask me. Next up, WD has their first PCIe 4 NVMe drives. A little late to the party, but these seem to be really nice. These are the WD Black, so this is the sequel essentially to the SN750. This is the SN850, and this allows you to have up to 7 gigabytes per second reads and up to 5.3 gigabytes per second writes, which are some crazy high speeds and would be ideally, as this points out, Sony hasn't confirmed it, but would theoretically be pretty ideal for the PlayStation 5. So we'll see if it's supported. Something to be concerned with, though, depending on what you're sticking it in, that's what she said, is the kind of beefy heatsink. Now, it's not as big as some of the other drives. Like, this is actually a fairly slim form factor heatsink compared to the Corsair MP600, which has a big beefy one, and then the Sabrent Rocket PCIe Gen 4 drive has this giant like heat pipe array and stuff like that on top of it. So this is better than those options, and so that might make it more likely to work in the PlayStation 5, because it doesn't have a super thick slot from what I recall for those M.2 drives. So that will be interesting to see regardless. On a weird note, Sony is updating the PlayStation Webstore and limiting what content you can buy. So this is probably a little hard to read. However, starting on October 28th, which is 12 days from now, you can no longer buy PS3, PSP, or PS Vita content. So games, apps, themes, any of it on the PlayStation Store from your computer. You can still do it from the consoles. So I can still log in on my PS3 and go buy the stuff, but you can't do it from the store. Also, they're removing the wish list from the store just entirely, because no more wishes. I find this really weird because, again, they're not removing the ability to buy the stuff at all. So clearly that store functionality is still present. And on the PS3, at least, the web store is literally just a web browser to the online store. So they're like separating that, and the PS3 store experience is abysmal because it's so slow, because it is just a web browser and the PS3 wasn't really optimized for that. So it's really weird, IMO, for them to do this, but that's where they're going. And again, they're just removing the wish list. I don't understand things sometimes. I'm just like, let us buy stuff. I don't know. It's a really weird decision. I can't really see any like security benefits here. If you can still buy it on the console, you know, there's no workaround for that doesn't prevent you from jailbreaking the consoles. I don't really know. The only thing that someone came up with is maybe there's like a database migration issue or something like that, where, you know, keeping track of all of that store content on the online, you know, browser-based web store is not working out or something. However, again, it's still being hosted for those consoles to buy through a web browser in some capacity. So unless they're just worried about licensing of like re-releases and ports and HD capture packages and things like that of older games kind of conflicting with the original listings, I can't really see a reason to remove this. So, hopefully this works. Hey! Camera angles, production value, something. So, speaking of game consoles and weird decisions and weird announcements, GameStop and Microsoft have announced a multi-year partnership wherein a couple things happen. So, Microsoft's cloud, you know, probably Azure as I don't know how to say it. Azure services will be backing GameStop's online stuff, and they'll be using Office 365 for the store, and all of the employees will be using Surface-related products for managing the store. But also, they will now be able to sell Xbox All Access in stores. So this seemed like a weird, you know, okay, a partnership where they kind of work together. They get to utilize Microsoft services. I always find it weird when Microsoft needs to partner with a struggling company to make them use their services, because then it just seems like they don't have enough companies using their services as is, but maybe that's an ignorant interpretation. But then it came out secondarily that Microsoft will share digital revenue with GameStop on all Xbox sales, regardless of whether they were bought at GameStop or online or anywhere else. Clearly we're missing details here, but I'm trying to figure out how this benefits Microsoft, I guess. Why would you give GameStop a cut of all of the sales you have, regardless of where they are, if GameStop has nothing to do with it, just because GameStop is using your cloud services? And this is where I was talking about, it just seems like they're desperate for users, because this is... I don't get it. I could be totally missing something. I hope at some point someone points it out, or we get more information to reveal it. But this just seems like maybe Microsoft is just investing in GameStop. They're just like, we want GameStop to stick around. Here you go. But it seems like this is all for GameStop and doesn't really benefit Microsoft. I don't know. I found it a little weird. So I just wanted to leave it at that, because I wasn't really sure where to go with it, but it was very interesting news regardless. Also on the Xbox front, there's now a full list of 30 games that will be fully optimized for the Xbox Series X and S on launch day, which is very exciting to see, especially given how few new generation games we are actually getting with the launch of the next systems. Those games include Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion, Yakuza Like a Dragon, Gears Tactics, and Tetris Effect Connected are some of the games that you can play that are kind of next gen, but also releasing on this gen as well. And then there's a lot of updates with the backwards compatibility. So we've got Borderlands 3, weird ones like Cuisine Royale, Dead by Daylight, Dirt 5, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition, Fortnite, of course, Forza Horizon 4, Gears 5, Planet Coaster. That ought to be interesting. A lot of these are just set up through Game Pass and stuff as well. So pretty much you get a lot of access to these for free, which is pretty cool. Now, there have been a lot of videos. I don't have any pulled up to show you. There have been a lot of videos released over the past couple weeks showing the performance gains that you get in backwards compatibility over the original console. And in some cases, it very much improves game performance. Like, there is one game they were showing, Assassin's Creed Unity, where it runs abysmally on console due to some bad optimizations and things like that. And on the Xbox Series X, it runs completely locked and smoothly, which is pretty impressive. So I'm very excited to see, essentially, to a lot of people, and I don't necessarily share this perspective, but to a lot of people, the Xbox Series X and S basically kind of fulfills the promises that the Xbox One X and One S kind of made, in that a lot of the games that didn't run as well as everybody expected on the Xbox One X will now run properly on the Xbox Series X. So pretty cool stuff there. We'll see how it goes. Obviously, we don't have a whole lot of launch titles. We were seeing that the Xbox Series X's box actually has Halo art on it, and there's already a bunch of Halo promo codes releasing with brand deals for snacks and drinks and stuff, because apparently no one expected it to get delayed, which is amusing. But I'm excited for next gen, even if it's going to be a slow rollout of things. I am excited to see where things go. I have an Amazon pre-order for both PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. However, I've gotten emails from Amazon for both of them saying that they could be delayed, so I may not even get one this year, which would be very frustrating. I'm currently trying to lock down a 4K 120 or 144 HDMI 2.1 monitor to also pair with these, to also use for other tests, but also to use with next gen tests, because HDMI 2.1, but we'll see. We're still kind of working on that. Next up, NVIDIA has finally updated their decode and encode matrix, and I'll show you that here. It's kind of, it's set up really weird now because I can't just display it all at once. But this shows you all of the different formats that the NVIDIA graphics cards can encode and decode. And now you have a sideways scroll on the table as well, because there is so many. And so that reveals things like HEVC with B-frame support, HEVC at 8K, HEVC 10-bit, you get to see where the cutoff of encoding a lot of that kind of goes. But then when you go to decoding, we now have a column for, if we scroll all the way over, you can see only 30 series supports it here. AV1 at 8-bit and 10-bit. And then you can see here only 20 series, I believe. Yeah, Turing is the only series that can decode H.265 at 444 in 8, 10, or 12-bit. So this is hopefully clearing up a lot of confusion with regards to the NVENC and NVDEC kind of generations and stuff, because there was some confusion. They finally announced a generation number, which they had never used before with Ampere, and everyone's like, oh, it's a new generation. That means it's something new. And now they finally added a column for those generations as well, and you can see 7th generation NVENC actually goes all the way back to the 1650 Super, because it's all the same generation of NVENC, which means that there's no improvements. But this kind of helps you kind of divide and understand where all of that information is. There we go. Sorry. YouTube stats freaked out for a minute. It's like, yeah, you have viewers. You have 0 viewers. And so I was trying to make sure the stream didn't disconnect, because I'm on Wi-Fi here, so that's always possible, but it caught back up. Okay. Anyway. Yes, I have the Activate Windows watermark. I'm sorry, I have it sort of covered up. I will activate this copy of Windows eventually. Not right now, though. In Twitch-related news, Twitch has been displaying some Easter eggs and basically confirming that there will be some attempt at a virtual TwitchCon, potentially for 2020. I think it would be more realistic to expect it for 2021. But Streamer News here features that there was quotes like, there is a place where glitches are good, which they started sharing as far back as like June, I feel like, or whenever the September thing, like I thought that was a hint at September actually accidentally letting you use it on existing subs as well. But apparently this is all referring to a potential virtual TwitchCon on November 14th. I feel like that's really late, not only in the year, but also like, we're approaching the end of October. If they haven't officially announced it yet, seems kind of crappy. Like, I get it's a virtual event. Theoretically, anyone can show up to it. There's no real limitation there. However, I don't know. I feel like it would have just been better to announce it for like Q1 2021. But I guess there's the financial incentive to get it done this year, maybe. I don't know. But most of what I see that people actually want out of TwitchCon is going back and hanging out with their buddies and meeting everyone in person. So I'm not sure what really a virtual TwitchCon has to offer over a physical one. Like, realistically, what, you get a couple panels maybe, if anyone can agree to it this last minute. I'm sure they arranged it in advance a little bit more. Or, some announcements about Twitch as a platform, but do we need to really make an event out of that? I don't know. Next up, since we've missed a few weeks, this is a little bit older news, but kind of exciting, but also not, in that Twitch announced their new soundtrack by Twitch. This is a music licensing kind of thing that will let you use artists. They're basically curating music from artists to use on Twitch. However, a couple issues with this, and there's a great video by Devin Nash where he points it out, where he's talking about the differences between this and what Facebook Gaming actually did, which is they actually acquired all of the licenses so that anyone making content through live format on Facebook would be covered. Twitch did not. So not only are they not paying any of the artists for this music in the first place, it seems like individual artists that are contributing their music, the licenses that they got for this music is purely for like the performance. So while you're live, you will theoretically be safe for streaming music here. However, when you're actually like uploading, once your VODs or clips go live, you can still get DMCA'd because the clips are not protected because of the licensing that they secured for the music. So it's not as great as it seems, and it's a little disappointing, especially compared to what Facebook just locked down. Now, we know that they're probably working more on more licensing behind the scenes. They just shut down Twitch Sings, which was obviously a move to appease content holders and make a better move for licensing in the future. However, as it stands, I wouldn't even feel comfortable using the music from Twitch soundtracks versus something that you actually get licenses for, such as Pretzel, Stream Beats, or, you know, your own licensed music that you pay a royalty-free music library for. I wouldn't even use Twitch soundtracks given all the weirdness of the licensing involved. IMO. Next up, the StreamLabs team have released a video collaboration platform, and I feel like this is overhyped. I got into the beta. I didn't really get to mess with it too much, but all of the announcements make it seem like it's a video editing platform kind of in the cloud, and it's not really that. This is essentially just Dropbox comments on a video, but you can put them at specific time codes and like refer to specific parts of the video, and then they have a feature to automatically take that video and then publish it to YouTube, which has questionable usefulness, I guess. Like, as a collaboration platform, it seems pretty cool. Like, you can upload your video clips and you can actually use it as cloud storage as well. So if you're working with an editor, I'm about to sneeze, I'm so sorry. All right, I think we're good. You can upload your clips to an editor. They can edit the video, upload the draft back here to you, and then you can chat back and forth on this, which is useful if you need a lot of feedback, but if you don't, it's not super useful. And then you can directly publish to YouTube. But that's it. You can't edit here. You can't really do much more than that. And most platforms already allow for this, like Dropbox and Google Drive both provide more storage for cheaper and allow you to basically do the same thing. At worst, you need to put a time code, like type out the time code in your comment, which is not a bad thing. Like that's not a big detractor. And this is being like quoted as being revolutionary and stuff, which is not the case at all. Like I do agree that it would be handy for certain users, but I don't think it'll be as handy as it seems. Now, the version management stuff seems pretty cool. You can kind of go back and forth and see, you know, the differences between drafts and things like that. And maybe you're like, okay, we need to go back to this one and start from there again. You can get little annotations and stuff, and it can apparently integrate with Final Cut and Premiere, which would be pretty handy there. But overall, I don't know. And the pricing for it, for the storage that you get, is not appealing to me. For $12 a month, you get 200 gigs of storage. The free plan is only 5 gigs. For $25 a month, you get 1 terabyte of storage. And they actually limit how many collaborators you can have based on this as well, which seems silly. Now, if you just want the cloud storage to share back and forth with a basic commenting system, Dropbox and Google Drive provide a much better value in terms of like storage. So yeah, and someone mentioned Vimeo Premium as well. Like I don't know. Go check it out if you think it's cool for you though, and I'd love to hear back, like in the comments or something later on, if you try it out and it has actually been useful for your workflow. I'd love to hear that. Got a couple more topics before we get to the ad break in the big unboxing section here. Blizzard has announced that they are ending major development updates for Starcraft 2, which will affect the esports scene in potential ways. It definitely was involved. I would disagree that it's directly responsible for the new age of esports, as Slasher says here. As someone points out, Halo was definitely strongly involved in getting a lot of that going. But StarCraft 2 definitely had a major presence that got a lot of Twitch to where it is today. And so it is kind of sad to see, even if I've never been big in the RTS scene overall. So hopefully that means we're getting something new, be it Warcraft or Starcraft. I'm interested to see where it goes from there. I'm going to cut to ad break real quick because I really need to blow my nose so I don't sneeze in your ears. And we're going to check out some pretty crazy unboxings because we haven't had a whole bunch in recent episodes. This one's going to be wild because I don't even know what all is included in everything. See ya in a moment.
PlayStation.
In every video like this, I reference past videos that I've made on subject X or product Y that would help expand your understanding of the subject at hand in the present video. However, more and more it's becoming more difficult for you to actually find the videos that I'm referencing. I want to change that, and that starts with Nebula. I've partnered with a bunch of my creative friends for our own platform where we don't have to worry about demonetization or fighting an algorithm for you to find our content. Here, I'll have all of my normal videos that you know and love, completely ad-free, as well as new Nebula originals and exclusive content that goes beyond what's available on YouTube. Again, ad-free. The platform features some of the top education creators from YouTube, as well as unique collaboration opportunities. CuriosityStream saw what was happening over on Nebula and wanted to support it further and partner up for more educational content. We have a deal now where if you sign up with the link below, you have access to CuriosityStream and their full library of great documentary and educational content, as well as all of Nebula's content for free included in it. So CuriosityStream is also offering a major promo right now where you can get full access to their site and Nebula at the same time, as long as your CuriosityStream subscription is active, for just under $15 a year. That's 26% off the usual annual price. Less than $15 a year for thousands of documentary and educational content, as well as everything we're doing over on Nebula, and it's also the best way to support my channel at the moment as well. While you're there, be sure to check out original shows such as Alex Goes Bananas, where Alex Nichols checks out the pop culture that I grew up with and is set to just make me feel like an old man, even though I'm not that old yet, as well as the podcast Genesis from Alex or Low Spec Gamer, where he talks about the origin stories of your favorite YouTubers. If you want to support my channel and other educational content, check out curiositystream.com/epos for sign up for just under $15 per year. Bonkers price, lots of great content, don't miss it.
Sega is rolling out a new video game console this week.
It's one world. Why view it through two windows? Panasonic introduces the 36-inch SVGA TV.
All right. I don't know why that transition is always so jarring. Hello! Welcome back. We have a lot of stuff to show off here. I'm literally putting my hand on a pile of boxes that's on the ground that it's so high. Someone keeps asking what microphone I am using. I am using the Sennheiser MKH416 run into my Go XLR. So there's a couple things we need to open that are still in the original shipping packages, but first I wanted to show off a couple products I will have coming in a review very soon. Now, some people already have reviews of this up already. I had to buy my own. Well, I didn't necessarily have to, but I bought my own instead of getting a review unit, so I got it a little later than everybody else. This is the Razer Seiren Mini, and I got it in the pink form factor. And as someone pointed out, it does kind of look like an adult toy. Whatever. It's a microphone. But this is Razer's new $50 USB condenser microphone. Now, I'm annoyed that any company at this point is still just re-releasing USB condenser microphones, because generally speaking, there isn't a ton changed about it. And the same with this one. It's got an ultra-precise supercardioid pickup pattern, which actually may be useful for background noise rejection, as most of them don't usually use supercardioid. They usually just use normal cardioid. But I think the appeal of this is just that it's small and portable, maybe. So if we open it up here, we get the usual thank you letter from Razer with manual, whatever. It does include a pink USB cable. This is using, which is disappointing as can be, this is using micro USB. You can't really see that, but it is using micro USB, and it's using one of their little like connectors that locks it into place, so hopefully you won't break it. I don't see why you wouldn't go with USB-C at this point, but that's just me. And then we have the parts to build up the stream here. That ad break was the best I've ever seen. Thank you. We've got our little stand. We've got the little riser bit. Feels kind of plasticky. There's not cohesion with the pink, so there's a big silver gap, whatever. Then we have the microphone capsule itself, which I have to admit, this thing is tiny. It feels like a toy. It looks like a giant pill. Like, I feel like I've seen toys from characters that have pills that look like this. Kind of interesting. Weighs basically nothing. And then you screw it on the stand here. Now, first things first, you slide in and lock in the USB cable here. So it forms a little cohesive butt to the microphone. First thing you're going to notice is there's no adjustment here. There's no... Right, oh, there is! Okay. I take back my previous complaint about there not being a cohesive seal here with the pink. This is actually a tiny, tiny, tiny little ball head. So you can get ever so slightly an angle to then talk into it from above. I don't know that that's enough to really make a difference, but it does angle it up at you a little bit more. You can see it's slant. So that's interesting. Dr. Mario pill. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. And that's all you really get in the box. So, my obvious complaints are that there's not enough adjustment of the microphone, and there's no real... Well, I guess you could put it on a microphone stand, actually, because that bottom threading should attach to a microphone stand. So you should be good there. I can't imagine this is great, but for $50, it's probably a decent entry point for some people. I would just first and foremost get it up on a microphone arm. It's so light that you can't actually use any of those generic cheap microphone arms I usually recommend against. So, pretty handy there. I'm gonna set that up there. Now, we have a second USB condenser microphone here. This is the HyperX Quadcast XS. Now, you may have remembered that I have already reviewed the HyperX Quadcast, and as far as I can tell, internally, this is the same microphone. The only difference here is the RGB patterns in software, so you can actually control what that looks like, which was kind of a complaint I had of the original, was you just had red, you didn't have any control over it, and so now you have some options to control the RGB, but otherwise... I hit my microphone, I'm sorry. I don't usually do that. But otherwise, this should sound identical to the original HyperX Quadcast, and should more or less be the same microphone. Jesus. So, looks basically identical from the start. Plug it in, get some USB power, get some RGB lighting, tap to mute on the top, change your gain over here. Got pickup pattern dial on the back, microphone arm clamp, and this is actually one of my favorite USB condenser microphones because it basically has a compressor or a limiter inside it, so you can't clip it in software, which is pretty cool. So I will do some testing and make sure that's still the case here. And I don't remember if the last one had it or not, but this has USB-C connectivity on the back, which is pretty cool. So, HyperX Quadcast, basically what you would expect, just with some RGB added, I guess. Whoa. Oh, wasteful product packaging. All right, so now we can get into a little bit more fun stuff before we go back to our topics. Some of these are eBay finds, and then one of these packages is from our friends over at Intel, who we haven't gotten anything from in a long time. So I am excited. Apologies if my voice sounds a little weird today. My allergies are killing me. I feel like I can go an entire week of not having any allergy issues, although I have this week. But I can often go an entire week without allergy issues, and then the second it's time to stream streamer news or record a video, especially a microphone comparison where I need to sound normal, I'm suddenly super nasally from allergies. It's really annoying. Hello? There we go. This is quite the packaging. There we go. So this was an eBay grab. It's what I'm thinking of. Yeah. This is a PlayStation 1 Namco light gun. GunCon. Oh, and it actually comes with the paperwork in it as well, which is pretty cool. This is like the original paperwork. So, Namco GunCon for light gun games. Plugs in, uses composite or green sync for syncing. I have never done a whole lot with light guns because for a while there, I had moved away. I never had them as a kid, and then I had moved away from CRTs for a little while in my life, and now that I have a big, nice BVM that can sync to the light gun, I am very excited to get back to it and actually play some. I picked up Time Crisis recently, and I want to play some other ones and kind of get some nice light gun game in, because I love those games in the arcades. Light gun games at the arcades are some of my favorite games to go play. That and like Daytona racing or whatever. So I am very excited to get back to that. Now, I also picked up a 16 megabyte original Xbox memory card. I'm doing a whole lot with Xbox modding at the moment, and actually my main Halo themed Xbox is over with Mr. Mario to get modded and stuff like that. He does a lot of console modding stuff. And I want the ability to easily transfer my game saves between consoles, and obviously I can do it through FTP and with the with the like network transfer and stuff, but it's just easier in some cases to have an official memory card on board. Now this one, I'm not 100% sure what it is. I think I might know, but I'm not 100% certain. Maybe not. What is this? Hello? Have you used the Seiren light gun? I have not. Is that the one that like supposedly works with CRTs now? Or CRTs. LCDs? Oh, dude! Yes! Yes! So, they reached out to me to send me this. This is from, I believe, Big Potato Games. This is the Blockbuster Movie Time board game, or trivia game. This thing is sick. I'm in love with the packaging already. Oh my gosh, this is perfect for my aesthetic and general scene of things, as you can tell. Oh, I am so stoked. I love this. I'm expecting like popcorn to be in here and stuff as well. We'll switch back to side view here. Blockbuster returns. Unlike Mr. Bumble and Oliver Twist, when we heard these words, we were thrilled. Those words being, "Please, sir, can I have some more?" People loved our Blockbuster games so much, they wanted second helpings. Without further ado, here it is. It's called Blockbuster Returns, and it's filled with all the movies we couldn't fit into the first game for you to enjoy as an expansion to the original or on its own. Enjoy Big Potato X. P.S. Blockbuster Returns is available exclusively at Target. Oh my goodness. So I will probably have to pick up the original. I think I had it on a Christmas list at one point and then did not get it. But, oh man, my cats are going to love all these little paper shavings. But, anyway. Oh, this is so cool. Okay. So this is built like it's a VHS tape kind of cover here. I don't have one in the style that it is, but you know, it's built up like a VHS tape, which is pretty cool. Let's get the knife back to open it up here. Blockbuster Returns party game, another movie game for anyone who has never seen... Words are hard. Another movie game for anyone who has ever seen a movie. This time, the sequel is just as good. Blockbuster is back and it's filled with all the best movies from the past 10 years. The scene opens with a movie buzzer battle, then moves on to the main event, a race to describe, quote, and act out different movies for your team to guess. Huh. Heck yeah, this is sick. Oh man. Yes, I approve. Be kind. Rewind. It even opens up like a tape. That's awesome. It's got the cards in here. And little packs. And they're like little tapes as well. We've got the instructions. Now this is actually the board map. The instructions playing with the original. I think that's a Big Potato Game sticker. I will put that on something as I always do. Oh, this is exciting. Obviously, I can't like demonstrate the game here for you because it's a trivia board game, but this is gonna be fun. Oh, so shout out to Big Potato Games or Big Potato X for sending this out. We gonna have some fun with this. Go check it out at your local Target if you have one near you. Apparently, it's exclusive. I just love that packaging. Hell yes. All right. I didn't know that was coming today. That was really good timing. So, next up, and I'm not even sure exactly how to show you this. Okay, professional streamer, ladies and gentlemen. I have a giant box down here from FedEx from our friends at Intel. And I'm just going to rotate our microphone so you can hopefully hear me here. Here we are. This is what we're unboxing next. This thing is massive. I was not expecting whatever's supposed to be in here to be anywhere near this big. So, that's what she said? Question mark? Sorry, I've been watching a lot of The Office. That's why that's on my mind. All right. Final unboxing. That's a lot of paper. Oh, all right, it's not that big. We have a big mysterious black box. A big mysterious cardboard box. And another big mysterious cardboard box. So this will be great for moving or for my cats. And then we can see what are in the actual boxes here. Everything's falling over now. Oh, these are heavy. All right. Anyway. Everything's falling over. All right. Ugh. All right, so first mysterious black box is already open. I did not need to cut it. Okay, that's concerning. Ooh. Have you played Crash 4 yet? I have not. I picked it up, but I have not gotten a chance to play it yet. I've been saving it for a capture card review, and I have not gotten to. Tenth Gen Intel Core. Doo-doo-doo-doo. That would be cool to set up as like a light box or something. They're kind of bouncing around in it here. Ooh, actually, I could just use this little acrylic panel as a display for something. I may save that for that. So clearly these were taken out and verified before they were put in here, but that's okay. Gaming happens with Intel. Well, we'll see. So in here, I have two samples that I have specifically requested for upcoming projects, including my new sleeper gaming PC build that I'm super stoked to work on. And this should be the Intel 10900K. But also I'm working on a couple of both AMD and Intel budget streaming and game streaming rigs to verify some kind of myths and questions and quirks about OBS and streaming when it comes to performance, in terms of like little things that people always ask about, that when I run it on the highest end hardware, the kind of brute force of having the better hardware kind of nullifies any performance concerns. So I'm building one with the AMD 3300X and a 1660, and then the i5, this should be the 10600, 16400, 10640. I don't know the exact model numbers. I can't keep them anymore. Wow, this is tiny compared to the processors I'm used to these days. This is the, 10600K i5 to pair with a 2060 Super. So I have like two tiers of budget streaming rigs that I am going to use for this kind of testing. And then this one is the... This display box did not hold up well at all. This is the 10900K. Yeah, so pretty stoked for that. Going to be some exciting videos from there. So we can assume from here, the other boxes are motherboards, I'm assuming. Neither CPU is OBS certified. Don't get me started on that. I do have some announcements on that front coming soon, but not right now. Cut out a hole in the side of the PC case and add the acrylic plate over the CPU so you can see the cooler through it. That could be a pretty cool solution. I do like this little box though. It's way more tame than last gen. I don't know if you can see it, but right there I have, here, I can grab it. I mean, they did this whole tetrahedron thing for the 9900K. That's what this is. Versus, which is fine. This is more pragmatic, realistic, what they should be doing versus this, although I want to build something in this as well. I still want the little space capsule they sent to Linus, though. I still want that. They don't have any stock of that. I asked last time I was at Intel HQ, which was a year or two ago. I still want one, but they don't have them anymore. Okay, so looks like we have Asus and Gigabyte motherboards here. Honestly, like I said, I was only expecting them to send me one. So, having one for each CPU is a big bonus. I don't have to source a second one now. So shout out to Intel for sending this stuff out. Why is this so heavy? That's clearly the beefy motherboard. The other one's probably more budget oriented. So here we have, God, this is one of the heaviest mother boxes I've used. This is ROG Maximus 12 Extreme gaming motherboard. So this is of course Z490 chipset, which I have not used yet. We're looking at 2 X16 size slots, an X4 size slot, and that's it. Lots of M.2, I guess. That's not very much. They do have, ooh, it's got 10 gig Ethernet on it though, which will be very useful because I use 10 gig on my gaming PCs for transferring footage and things like that. So I'm impressed. I will happily sacrifice a slot there if it means I get 10 gig. Okay. And we're looking at, yeah, 2 M.2 slots. Both PCIe 3.0, of course. This thing is, I want to see, like, maybe there's RAM in here and stuff. Like, why is this particular motherboard box so heavy? Maybe it's just the motherboard that's so heavy. Look at this thing. All right, I'm going to set it in my lap so I can show you. Like, coming as an HEDT user who uses the biggest of motherboards, you know, bigger than ATX, this is still an insanely heavy package. Oh my god, it is all the motherboard. This is heavier than my Threadripper motherboards, or my 7980XE motherboard. Oh, because it's got this pointless backplate. I hate this. This makes it so hard to mount motherboards in cases properly, because it blocks like some of the screw holes. I don't think it serves any real function, and it makes it so freaking heavy. You can see here we do have Asus's little patented DIMM.2, so we probably have 2 M.2 drives available here, and then the DIMM.2 would give us 2 more, so that's actually pretty nice. We've got X16, X8, X4. What I find funny is a lot of motherboards these days are doing the side cutout on the X4 slot, so you could fit an X8 slot or card in here, just not have access to all 8 lanes, but then they put these giant heat sinks on here that, unless you want to run without it, which is not always recommended, you can't actually use that expanded slot. And I believe this is one of the overclocking motherboards, so it has a Molex power connector at the bottom to provide additional PCIe power, which you don't really need. It has a crap ton of fan headers. Like, that's an entire, you can't really see that very well. That's an entire row of fan headers right here. One more right here as a 3-pin. We've got a 2x2 RGB maybe connector. That's really weird. We've got USB 3 on the side, 8 SATA ports here, another USB 3, 2 Type-C front panel headers, another fan header, more hookups, RGB. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 fan headers on the front. So clearly this is designed for water cooling. Holy crap, the connect. No wonder this board is so big and heavy. It's got 2 8-pin CPU power connectors. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. 15 total fan headers on this thing. What? And then looking at I/O, we've got our 10 gig Ethernet, 2.5 gig Ethernet, Wi-Fi, audio, dual USB Type-C. One is paired with, one is a 10 gigabit per second paired with a 10 gig Type A. The other is a 20 gigabit per second Type-C paired with a 10 gig Type A. Lots, well, not lots. 6 USB 3.0 normal A headers, and then 2 USB 2.0 for some reason. This thing is insane. No wonder this box is so heavy. The box doesn't really weigh much without it. Okay. Jesus. So, I guess I don't need to say at this point, we're going to get a hefty overclock out of that 10900K on this thing. Huh. Real quick to wrap up this section, I did not expect it to go so long. We're going to check out the Gigabyte motherboard. Now, I am confused because I thought they were sending RAM as well, but I will source RAM separately, apparently, if I need to. Should have come with the Thunderbolt 3 card as well. Awesome. That will be very useful here. And then I guess to represent the more budget side, we have the Gigabyte Z490 Aorus Master. Which is a much lighter motherboard here. It's still not a light motherboard, though. Like, I don't know that I would say this is a budget motherboard, because this has an even bigger, well, even more surface area covered backplate here. A full front plate thing going on here. ESS Sabre Hi-Fi audio. We've got an X16 slot, an X8 slot, and a second X8 slot at the bottom, which is interesting. 1, 2, 3, 4... 5, 6, 7 fan headers compared to the 8 fan headers compared to the 15. We've still got dual 8-pin power for CPU, USB 3.2 in the old style header with a Type-C here as well. Big front panel hookup, lots of USB front panel. Then we've got USB 3.2 Type-C, but it doesn't list the speed, so could be 10 or 20 gig. Lots of USB 3.2 A ports, and then 4 USB 2.0 ports. And then it has 2.5 gig Ethernet instead of dual or 10 gig. And it has onboard HDMI, which the other one did not. Actually, this poses an interesting thing. I want to do some testing with the 10900K using it with just the iGPU. And so that big Asus overclocking board, I don't believe it had video out. And so if it's like my Z390 Z390 overclocking board, it actually disables the iGPU. So I will want to put my 10900K on this board first to do iGPU testing, and then we move it over to the beefy Asus board to pair it with an actual GPU. Looks like we have at least 2 M.2 slots. There might be a third under here as well. So that is exciting. So yeah, I take it back. I said this was more of a budget board. It's not. This is still a capable board all on its own, and they all have really nice VRM heat sinks, all of that. It's back in the bag. There we go. Does not want to fit. Come on. Whatever. It's fine for now. Yeah. So yeah, it works out that they sent me 2 boards, because I would have been stuck without the iGPU stuff I wanted if had they only sent me the 1. So, heck yeah. Red USB ports are new to me. Red USB ports are supposed to be the 3.1 Gen 2 or 3.2 Gen 2 ports that are 10 to 20 gigabit per second, depending on what board you're using, because they all label things a little differently. All right, back to the news topics here so we can wrap up our show. The FCC announced a pretty weightless claim that they were going to look into regulating social media because of censorship. This isn't going to go anywhere. This is purely like election fodder just to kind of get attention for the election. I don't expect anything to come from that. The FCC, as it stands, is currently basically spineless. It doesn't do anything, and I wouldn't expect it to do anything now. Oh yeah. Before I realized I had added this to the show doc before my Seiren Mini got here. Razer announced the Seiren Mini for $50 and started selling it. We got it. We're going to review it, obviously. But Razer also announced a new gaming chair, which appears to be basically the Secret Labs chair, but maybe with a thicker lumbar cushion added. I still don't agree with this racing style chair. I've made a lot of videos about it and about chairs. I have an update video about upgrading your chairs and comparing the new Respawn Spectre chair I unboxed on a previous Streamer News episode, coming soon. So I haven't shot it yet, been working on it, but that should be pretty exciting. But Razer is announcing this one. It has no RGB, but like I said, it does have a beefy lumbar cushion. I don't entirely agree with the shape, but it does actually look like one of the better ones in some degree. But again, it's basically a Secret Lab ripoff, so we'll see if it's licensed or not, I guess. In a sort of sad turn of events, Amazon is actually shutting down their first... Oh. No one told me my microphone wasn't here. In a weird turn of events, Amazon is shutting down their first game, their first PC shooter, Crucible. So they released it in beta, then they released it, and then they put it back to beta because it wasn't working right and wasn't being received well. And now they're saying that as of, I believe, November 9th is when it's shutting down for good. I've had it installed for a while, but have just never gotten around to playing it. So I definitely want to make sure I can get in and play a couple matches or whatever and experience it before it shuts down. Because this happens a lot with games where it's like on my list to check out, because from my generation of games, you could always go back and play games, even multiplayer ones. Like I can go back and play multiplayer games from the 90s and they still work. However, this will not be the case with Crucible because they'll shut down the servers and stuff. So I want to make sure I get a match in, and it's kind of crazy and kind of shows that you can't just throw a bunch of money and have a successful game if you don't have like good team behind. I don't even know if the team was bad. I don't know. I don't know what went wrong here, but from what I could tell, the whole game was just a disaster. As far as PC games are concerned, we got the good news from a research and analysis company that it appears that the third quarter shipments of PC sales are up over 12% year over year, which is the fastest growth we have seen in computer sales in a decade, which is insane. There's been a lot of talk the past 5 to 8 years that we're going to see a huge decline in PC sales, that mobile is killing everything. Everyone's going to move back to mobile. We're seeing that to not be the case. And that kind of backs up my, I guess, old man graybeard stance that wasn't going to be the case. I feel a little bit vindicated because I've always said that there's still a need for computers, and computers still serve a specific role that mobile devices do not. And I think as we saw everyone this year get forced to work from home, it became clear to everyone that their mobile devices don't really cut it anymore as a full desktop replacement. And so they're buying actual computers to be able to do their work from home. Imagine that. So I feel a little bit vindicated here. Now, the main lead story, I did not realize it was so buried, for today's video or stream is an article from Forbes, which talks about research. I believe this is done by StreamLabs. I don't entirely remember. Yeah, StreamLabs. Their research shows that, of course, Twitch is dominating in terms of hours being watched overall with streaming, but they're also dominating even more so in total hours being streamed. And what this works out to is that both YouTube gaming live, or just streaming on YouTube, and Facebook streaming end up having a higher hour watch per hour streamed than Twitch by a long shot. So this is the whole saturated pond versus ocean versus whatever, in that there are perhaps more viewers on Twitch, but there's also exponentially more streamers. And so what you end up with is you have a whole lot of noise and not enough viewers per source of noise to consume it. Whereas on YouTube and Facebook, you are actually more likely to have more viewers per your stream than on Twitch. And that seems really counterintuitive because, again, more people watching on Twitch, more people watching than on YouTube and Facebook, but those views are not equally distributed and I believe this has to do with how viewership really works in terms of health on Facebook and YouTube. Facebook's a weird one. I don't understand who's actually watching there. I haven't looked into it enough, but it kind of works out in the same way where if you're going to take the time to leave your favorite video site to go to Facebook to watch a stream, then you're kind of there to watch a specific person. And with YouTube, there's no real stream discoverability. You're not like on Twitch, you're competing for randoms. You have your regular followers or who come back and whatever, but you're competing to be higher up on X page in X category to get newcomers to your stream who are just browsing Twitch. Whereas streaming on YouTube, you're mainly streaming to your subscribers and to people who are gonna stick around a little bit longer. And so what that results in is if you stream on YouTube and you have a following, your followers are going to come watch that and they're going to stick with you a lot more compared to Twitch, where you're just looking for newcomers to wave in and out as they decide they don't want to watch you anymore, they have something else to do, whatever. And that's really fascinating. And I feel like that backs up my claims. I actually just released a video, I think last week, talking about whether you should start on Twitch or YouTube or what have you. I think this kind of backs up some of my claims that you should be choosing your platforms based on your actual distribution goals. And so I have always said that if you want to stream to an existing follower base, to your subscribers or whatever, and just kind of hang out with them and kind of get that boosted, you should be streaming to YouTube, to your existing YouTube channel. But if you're looking to build a new audience while streaming, then you need to do that on Twitch, because that's where some of the discoverability is. And that still kind of applies here. You're still fighting. You have to fight a lot more for that discoverability on Twitch, but it does exist. Whereas YouTube streaming doesn't have a ton of discoverability, but those who stick around for your stream are there for the long haul. So pretty cool data to have there, and kind of shows the Twitch problem of essentially having even a modicum of success on Twitch makes you a 1%er. Whereas on YouTube, you're more like a 5 to 10%er. And there's a big division of like who gets watched, whereas on Twitch, most of the viewership goes to the top 1% of channels. Something worth thinking about if you're looking into choosing platforms and the like. Next up, RuneScape is now on Steam, and they have some extra bonuses pack going up to $129. I did not see this originally, but the RuneScape game is now available on Steam through the official client. If you use third-party clients, I know that's a thing with old school RuneScape. I don't know if it is for RuneScape 3. You can now play it through here, which will track your playtime, and you can get some extra bonuses you buy here, yada yada. However, old school RuneScape is not available yet. That will be coming in Q1 2021. I like this. I like that it's getting distributed here. Not distributed. That was weird. However, even when old school RuneScape shows up, like, I play with RuneLite, so I don't know that I'm going to be playing with Steam because I want all the advantages of RuneLite. But some of the bonuses you can get and stuff seem pretty neat, although they're probably available in the normal RuneScape store. Back in the Xbox news announcement category, a really cool thing is coming for Xbox Series X and S, in that you'll be able to transfer all of your cloud saves from Xbox 360 up to those new consoles for free without being an Xbox Live subscriber. Previously, to use cloud storage, and you didn't even get a ton of it on the Xbox 360, you had to have active Xbox Live Gold. Now they're letting you basically upport all of your old saves to the cloud to then use on the new consoles with the crazy new backwards compatibility tech, and that is freaking phenomenal. So that is very exciting for those of you who have some of your older games you want to play and you want to port it over to your new system and continue your save from there. This provides you an opportunity to do so, assuming you still have your console. Like, this news would have been useful before everybody got rid of their Xbox 360s, I guess. Last couple stories here. The Elgato Stream Deck recently got an update which enables Keynote and PowerPoint integration for Mac users, a new update on the integration for XSplit Broadcaster, and a new sleep action, which will put the Stream Deck to sleep, or you can set up a screensaver that will just display an entire image or animation or what have you over the screen. So you can see here they're setting it. Now you press it, you get a nice little image that displays over it, which is not necessarily effective. Like, I guess the concern, like, theoretically a screensaver is there to reduce burn-in, but if it's not an animated screensaver, it's still not necessarily fighting burn-in, whereas if that's what you really want, you just want it to go to sleep, not change to an image. But hey, it's still pretty cool, and a lot of people are having fun putting cool images on it regardless. Don't know if you saw the news, but Infinity Ward is finally adjusting Call of Duty Modern Warfare to let PC players free up disk space. Unfortunately, you cannot separate normal multiplayer from Warzone, which means you still have about 72 gigs that has both of those together, but you can uninstall or install separately Campaign, Spec Ops, and Multiplayer, which is pretty cool and can reduce your size from almost 250 gigs, which is all some people have for their game storage, down to 72-ish gigs if you just are playing multiplayer at this point, which is pretty cool. I still think it's pretty wild that they let the disk space usage run rampant and that they didn't have these options sooner, given that Warzone is free to play, or it was at one point, if I'm remembering right. Like, Warzone was the free entry point to the game. You still had to download the other 200 gigs of the game to play this free mode without buying it. That was annoying. And lastly for today, Shure, the company that makes the SM7B microphone, has announced that they're, well, that's not what I meant to do, that they are making and releasing a new microphone. Shure Next. All I can say is you should be pretty excited. About all I got for you. They have a little teaser video here. It's doing pretty well. Already has almost 60,000 views, which is pretty crazy. You can see on device adjustment for levels and the headset indicator and things like that on the microphone itself. So you can assume it's a USB microphone from this. However, the design and capsule and everything very much looks like the SM7B. So a lot of people are curious if this is a USB SM7B. Like I said, all I can say is you should be excited for it. I don't know that that's necessarily the correct analysis of it being a USB SM7B, but you can see the little controls here. And then they actually had a view of the back here, super quick. But if we analyze it here, if we actually look closely, you can see, yeah, we have USB with headphone out, but we also have XLR. So you can have either or both. However, it is unfortunately micro USB, which is always disappointing. Yeah, there's that. So that wraps up today's stream, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for tuning in to Streamer News. It looks like I missed a super chat or two here. We've got 20 bucks from WeGo. Mahalo for all of your valuable information. As a tech guy with a large school in Maui, your content help us elevate how we reach our kids during this time. Wow. Thank you. That's amazing. I'm so glad that it's crazy how many different areas that content can reach and kind of help people, which is pretty freaking cool. We got $5 from Nickba. Thank you very much, good sir. Did I miss anything else scrolling through here? Well, everything before the ad break cuts off in chat, apparently, so that's all I can see. All right, guys, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed today's Streamer News. We'll be back in 2 weeks. We do this every other week for continuation. We have a lot of videos coming, and like I said, a lot of behind-the-scenes stuff that I am very excited for that you'll see in time. It may be a little while, but by the end of the year, we should have some pretty awesome announcements coming soon. One last question here from Coalition Gaming. Do you think the old worry that streaming to YouTube for regular uploaded content-based channels like you or me can have a negative impact on growth, discoverability, or algorithm? Actually, I want to answer this real quick here, and I'm going to set it up so that I can cut it out as its own clip here. So the question is, do you think there used to be this concern that streaming on an existing YouTube channel would hurt the next video's performance or would otherwise negatively impact the channel? And there were some channels that would track every time they streamed, their next video would have at least slower initial view growth. Now, this was mostly a misconception. Now, I'm not going to deny that there's probably some weirdness that happened on the platform, as with premieres and other things. There's always some technical concerns. But the idea that streaming on a YouTube channel hurts your YouTube channel is, IMO, a misunderstanding of how the platform works. And this is where YouTube themselves actually kind of frustrate people, I'll say, with their answers. Because there's the idea that an individual video does not impact the performance of your next video. So if I uploaded a video on how we got Discord partner, which, by the way, come join us, discord.gg/eposvox. We now have the locked in vanity URL because we are partnered on Discord. That video did not do very well. Naturally, it didn't do very well because it was an hour-long discussion about getting to Discord partner, which is a very long video, which turns off a lot of people, and it was a niche topic. I understood going into it that it would not be a super successful video up front, but that it would be very helpful for those who want to find it for later. And I feel like it's serving that purpose, and over time, people who want it will find it. But then the idea is that a lot of people are concerned if we go to another video, like, I guess the next video would be the stream and it's doing fine. But, if I uploaded a video the next day or, the next upload slot, that video would perform worse. And I think the idea is that certain creators then expect that there is a correlation directly between that video doing well and the next video that video not doing well and the next video not doing well. And while technically that's not true, and YouTube's answer is, they don't look at your channel on the whole, they don't do any of that, everything is analyzed per video. What you run into is if your audience, if your viewership is heavily based on the first wave of viewers coming in from notifications, those who didn't click the notification on your previous video are less likely if they have personalized notifications on versus all notifications. So if you enable notifications for my channel, click the bell again, change it from personalized to all, and that will improve things a little bit. But the personalized notifications caters it based on your viewership. So if you don't watch a video from the notification from a channel, then it will serve you, it will be less likely to serve you the next video in notification. So if you upload a video that bombs, notification-wise, your next video, in terms of notification viewers, will actually be lower. Now, those viewers will eventually show up from your sub feed or whatever and be fine, but that initial view bump will actually be slower, and that can slow down your viewer turnaround, your viewership overall. The same thing applies to streams. And so my strategy with this whole streamer news show is I build up an actual news show that you would want to watch as a video anyway. I have done this before in a video and it was successful. I'm doing it live, so we get the live interaction bits and the super chats and all of that, but I could pre-record this and upload it, and it would functionally be the same piece of content. I use the timecode, chapter markers, all of that, so that it's completely viewable as a video. And that really helps things, because normal game stream VODs are not very viewable. Most people aren't going to click on a 4-hour stream VOD of you playing Fortnite or whatever and actually watch through it. Your retention's going to be lower. The notifications of that being an uploaded video are going to be lower. All of that. So the idea here is that if you're doing recurring game streams, unless you have specific like events or whatever, you want to unlist or private the VODs of that stream after it's done. This will then not leave that 4-hour video that no one is clicking on or watching in your queue and doesn't affect, you know, who's seeing it and things like that. So that is the strategy that I recommend for game streamers who are streaming to their existing channel. And I see that with the channel My Life in Gaming, who actually do constant game streams on their channel, but they keep the VODs basically hidden, and then their normal uploaded videos are totally fine. And that same strategy should apply to everyone. If you're uploading 4 to 5 hour stream VODs to your main YouTube channel, your viewership is going to tank, because in general, most of your viewers don't want to watch those. Most stream VODs are not watchable. Instead, you should be using the storyline that progressed throughout your stream, you should be creating an isolated video of that and uploading that as its own video, and then maybe linking to the stream VOD if people want to see it, but otherwise, like, that will be the representation of your previous stream. Not the whole VOD, just a quick little 5-10 minute little story build of what happened during your stream, or little highlights clips or things like that. A lot of streamers recently have been finding success on gaming channels uploading like less than 1 minute clips, and the views have been doing really amazing. This is counterintuitive to how YouTube worked previously. Less than 1 minute videos were actually a big problem, and for AdSense, they're actually still a problem. But generally, that is the strategy I recommend, because what is actually happening is not streaming negatively impacting your upload or whatever. It is the VOD itself sitting there not being clicked on, affecting who actually sees your notifications. Hope this answers your question. Hope this helps someone out. Thank you so much for watching. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more tech education and stream guides. I will see you in the next episode of Streamer News. Peace. I don't have music today. Sorry. I'm doing my own music. I only just got the email saying that Razer Seiren Mini review units are available. Thanks, Razer. Harris already has his video out. I'm doing my own music.